Good day. Thanks again for joining me today. You know, a turtle can live as long as 500 years old, and a rabbit can live as much as 12 years, which means that there's 42 generations of rabbits in the life of a turtle. That's 42 generations, just like Abraham to Jesus, and just like Jesus to right about now. The turtle wins the race in the end. There's been all these rabbits running around the world as the turtle took one step at a time. The truth doesn't have to run. And that's why, and now we can see the lions are roaring and the liars are falling. And the liar that we're going to expose in this video is Degrassi Tyson. And the reason he is one of those archetypes that we need to expose is I've heard a lot of people that justify the choices they make in their life by using him as their idol. And he's one of the idols of the Babylon that is coming down. Instead of admitting he was wrong, he's been doubling down. Even now that the Twitter files have come out and that Pfizer in October admitted that they did not test if it stopped transmission. So I took some cuts from this awesome interview with a lion. Patrick here is also his name. And I'm going to try not to cut in too much, but there's a few spots I have to say something. But here, let's have a look.
What have we learned now?
What do you mean testing it on America? There were tests before it was released.
9 months is not a long time to test.
No, but it was tested.
Yeah, but 9 months. The average is 30. The average is 5 to 10 years. I mean, 9 months is not enough.
Okay, so you have to
test.
No, you have to ask. Hold on. It was tested in trials. Okay. By the way, I'm not claiming to be the expert on all of this. I read all the same things you have, but I'm a scientist, so I read it as a scientist. Okay. There were trials. That's what the point of phase 1, 2, 3 trials are all about. They are tested enough to get data on how to then advise the larger population. Yes, it was tested. For you to say it wasn't tested is a gap between your awareness and understanding how things work and what actually happened. It was tested.
Somebody may say, well, freedom of choice, I want to choose what I want to do with the body. You're right.
What body?
If you want to get an abortion, it's your choice.
Your own body. Your own body.
If you want to get an abortion, get an abortion. If I want to get the vaccine, I get to choose. So you can't force. If I can't force you to get an abortion, you shouldn't be able to force me to get.
Because it's not about you. It's about people you interact with, and that's the social contract of public health.
We don't even know if the vaccine worked or not at the time.
Yes, that's what the trials are, dude. That's why these trials. Are you missing data out there?
But let me ask you a question. Are we saying only one type of scientists are right?
No, we're saying that the system in place.
The 16,000 that signed that.
No. The system in place to test vaccines. Yeah. There's an entire system that's in place. That with review boards and all of this.
And the average.
That's it.
As you can see, his demeanor and his energy is he's triggered just answering these questions, which means there's some inner turmoil going on. And if he was calm, look at Patrick, how calm he is. Even though he's already kind of been like, are you not looking at the data? He's already accusing and kind of being personal about his attacks. So, who would you listen to? The calm lion or this silly rabbit?
In a case where you can contaminate someone else, it's not about you. It's about the collective health.
You're assuming because somebody can take the vaccine, won't get COVID, which, by the way, I don't need to play the clips for you to see it, where everybody said, hey, if you get it, you're not going to get, if you take the vaccine, you're not going to get a Rachel Maddow, Joe Biden. I can give you Fauci. I can give you, and you've seen these clips before. It's not like you've never seen it before.
Yeah, what happened?
They were wrong.
Hold on. Hold on. Annual flu shots are precisely out of the same idea of how this occurs.
How long have those been tested, though? For years. COVID vaccine hasn't been tested for it. It was something we just came out. But let me.
I don't know what point you're making, other than it was tested. You might
9 months is not enough.
You might prefer. No, it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of how many. Yes, time matters, but the number of people is paramount. That's the most important thing. Okay, you don't test it on 10 people. You test it on as many people as you can. And
sure.
I think it was thousands, but
is it fair
don't
to
quote
say
me.
that some of the side effects we may not know for 5, 10, 15, 20 years? You can't, like, they can't say we know 100% the side effects 10 years.
Did you see that face there? He's trying really hard. You know, this is why I think he's just being paid by the Fauci company, because this is kind of silly. Like he's making these like faces like, oh, what do I say now? He's not very conscious of his energies. That's for sure.
Years from now, how are you going to know that?
Yeah. Okay. So no, of course we can't know.
So
that.
then all I'm saying is,
watch. We can't know that.
Okay.
But watch. So I have a whole chapter called Risk and Reward in the book, which tries to sensitize people to when they make a decision, what kind of risk are they absorbing relative to what they're rejecting, okay? And we're not very good at that, at probability and statistics or analyzing it.
He says we are not that, but he's saying, read my book and then you'll understand. So trust this guy, okay? He's the rational one to follow here. Go buy his book and then see where that leads you. See, I wonder if he's continuing to get the Fauci. Like, does he have 6 or 7 of them by now? And if he's talking this way, then he must have 6 or 7 of them. Or maybe he knows not to, and he's just talking this way to get his paycheck. Who knows?
You can say, I don't want to take the virus because 5 or 10 years from now, there could be a side effect that we don't see.
which is a possibility.
Hold on. I'm trying to make a statistical point here, okay? If you say, I don't want to take the virus because it hasn't been tested for 5 years and there could be some long-term side effect that worries me, okay? In that same moment, there's the risk factor of you getting COVID.
Sure.
Okay? Unvaccinated. At one point, 87% of everyone dying in the hospital of COVID was unvaccinated. Okay. So your risk choice is, I'm not going to take it because maybe somewhere down the line something will happen and we don't know what that is, or I will risk getting COVID. And if I get COVID, depending on your age and other things, there's a 3% chance of me dying in the hospital. That's your choice. Yes.
Actually, at one point, 100% of the people in the hospital that were dying were unvaccinated. So let's get this right. There was a time when there was nobody that had the Fauci. Okay, so technically he is right in that statement.
What happens to me if I get COVID? There's a chance I'll get long COVID. I'm certainly out for at least a week. And there's a chance I'll be hospitalized. And there's a chance I'll die.
Mm-hmm.
I take the vaccine. It mitigates this, basically entirely removing the chance that I'm going to die, essentially, at my age group. And I will accept the risk that in 5 years I'll grow a third arm. That's the kind of decision-making that I make.
Hold on, did he say 3%? Him? Does he have 3 or more Does he have 3 or more comorbidities? Because I think it was 95% of the people that went to heaven from this bug had 3 or more comorbidities. And so if you do the math on that and you realize that statement is really inflamed. Yeah, maybe in some places with certain age groups we had that high percentage, but that was a very misleading statement, no doubt.
You know, have you seen the documentary Died Suddenly? Have you looked at it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Well,
it's an interesting one. It's on I don't know where it's at. You can find it
I'll go
somewhere
watch
online.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got 30 million views. I think it's worth watching. Actually would be curious to know what you say about it once you watch it. Mm-hmm. The statistic then showed, like, pre-COVID, 29 people, athletes in Europe died suddenly from heart failure, pre-COVID, pre-taking the mRNA vaccine. Okay. Post-taking the mRNA vaccine last year, 1,500 people suddenly had heart failures in Europe and 2/3 died. That's documented. That's not like it's a hypothetical, right? Okay. You read statistics like that, then one has the right to say...
Well, just to be careful,
Sure.
be careful how you speak information. So So
Be careful how you speak information. He talks very condescending to people. Oh, but he's a scientist, so he's allowed, okay?
you are describing two events, okay? You're describing events that had a temporal relationship, okay? Before you've established a causal relationship. Just be clear that that's
100%. I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is the following. Here's all I'm doing. If somebody all of a sudden starts having a breakout, okay?
A breakout of what?
Meaning their skin starts breaking out. You're 26 years old. You never had a breakout. All of a sudden you start breaking out. And the doctor says, listen, man, what have you been doing differently? Well, listen, for the first time in my life, 6 weeks ago, I started doing DECA, steroids. Well, okay, that's why it implicates it, right? Okay. Hey, if somebody all of a sudden, is having a hard time sleeping at night, man, I'm having a very hard time. So let's watch your diet. Well, then they notice at 10:30 at night, you're having iced tea and, lemonade, and you add it with this. Well, listen, if we've been doing it for 6 weeks, that's why you're having a hard time. Just drop that. Don't drink that after 2 o'clock. I'm just making, saying, but all I'm saying is, what I want to know is I want to put everything on the table versus saying, no, there's one thing we can't put on the table, and that's the cause of the vaccine. There is no way there could be any negative impact because of the vaccine. That's ludicrous.
Has ever said that ever about any vaccine?
If you say that, then the question then becomes back for you to say, when COVID first got started, I invited so many doctors to come in to talk about COVID. And then I invited people from both sides. I want both sides. I invited people from both sides. You know which side would never come? The side that was for vaccine would never, ever come because they thought they were above the average person, that they know and the rest of us are dumb. So because of that, they're not willing to come and sit down with scientists. I think that's arrogant. So
Did you see that nod and go, yeah? Well, that's how he's acting towards Patrick here. Neil's acting like Patrick has nothing to say that's important, and he's acting above him. And that's like a superiority complex. Check out this face he does here.
the rest of us are dumb. So because of that, they're not willing to come and sit down with. To me, when I ask you scientific debate, I'm not telling you I'm a scientist. Hey, let me debate with you because I'm smarter than you. I'm not a scientist. I'm a business guy.
Let's do a hypothetical scenario. Hypothetics are, let's assume an actual cause and effect has been established in this case.
Sure.
Which does not have to see the film to know. I don't know that there's a cause and effect other than a coincidence in time relative to other things that people might have been doing. By the way, alcohol consumption went up during COVID significantly. Okay, and alcohol is implicated in heart disease. So
depression, anxiety, people staying at home, kids,
opioids,
addicts, addiction. Okay. So staying at home wasn't the best decision either.
What I'm saying is, if after the vaccine is available, more people die of heart failure over a time where alcohol consumption went up, as did depression.
That could be an option.
That's right.
That's a very good.
That's all I'm saying here.
Hold on, that was not a very good point. We're talking about top athletes here. This statistics was for athletes. It's not like the kids down playing soccer after school. These aren't people getting drunk. These are athletes, top athletes, okay? So no, they're to throw the alcohol and drug statistic in there as if this is what it's about. And let's just check out how far they get off the mark here, because to be honest, they all missed it there.
But let's give it to you that the vaccine caused this. Let's just say that, okay?
Yeah.
And add it all up, and you got, what was it, 1,500 post-vaccine?
29 to 1,500.
29 deaths.
29 sports deaths, 1,500.
Thousands of deaths, let's say, okay? Let's say 10,000 even. Let's just do that. Okay. All right. You can estimate how many deaths the vaccine saved during COVID. Okay? Because you can look at the death numbers drop off as people got vaccinated. It's in the tens of millions. Again, you can make a decision. Do I not want to die from COVID at this rate that occurred in this world? Or do I not want to die from this complication from the vaccine itself, the heart failure? So make your decision. And so you'll say, I might be in that 1,500, so I'm not going to take. Then you get COVID and die from COVID, right? So you just make the decision.
You know what I would say to that? You know what I would say to that?
What would you say?
Here's what I would say to that. I would say, perfect. Let me take the risk. And thank you for giving it to me that way versus telling me it's one or the other, which is how it was presented. As long as you are informed fully about what the risks are. But like I said, as a species, we're not very good at thinking statistically about it. We're just not. And when we want to, we believe we're going to be the exception. And look at the people betting on lotteries. You know, they think they're going to win.
We are not very good at this, okay? But Neil Degrassi is, so buy his book and he'll tell you how to live and he'll guide you. All right. They got off base there. He was talking about athletes in Europe, and then he starts to talk about how many millions of people were saved because they got the Fauci. Well, let's get off. And then he says, well, let's say it's even 10,000. They just forgot what they were even talking about there. They were talking about a small amount of athletes. It went up from 29 to 1,500 right after the Fauci was given out. He was comparing apples from oranges. And here, let's check this other interview out. And he does it all for himself here. I really like what this lion does to the liar.
Now we're getting some information after a while. We have time to find out just how bad the collateral damage has been. Here's just a few cases. The pandemic erased 2 decades of progress in math and reading. See, right away, I got to say, this pisses me off. I see these headlines all the time. The pandemic didn't do that. The way we handled the pandemic did that. The pandemic certainly was a thing. But let's not just say the pandemic, because it was not written in stone that we had to handle it the way we did. ACT scores are the lowest in 30 years. Anxiety and depression way up. The body mass index doubled for kids 2 to 19. Drug overdose deaths. Murders way up. Inflation at a 40-year high. Domestic violence increased. And my favorite, car crashes.
What you don't have is the benefit of the alternative scenarios to see how they would have come out, to be able to judge whether what did happen was a lesser evil than other options that would have unfolded. And so suppose...
Actually, we do, because other countries handled it differently. Sweden didn't handle it differently. Some of the places with the lowest vaccination rates turned out to have the best results.
With really low population densities.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yes, there are different factors. There are.
Yes, but I think that matters.
Yes, of course it matters.
It's a sort of a different factor.
You just said...
I walk into an elevator in New York City, there's 15 people
okay,
right here.
You just said that we can't make any judgments because we don't live in an alternative universe where America handled it differently. And I'm saying other places handled it differently. That does matter.
And it does matter. And, if somebody is going to be this arrogant and just double down, instead of do what you should do there, Neil, is ask for forgiveness, repent to all your followers for where you've led them. The truth is here already, and you're still standing behind this stuff. It's hard for anybody to not believe you're being paid to hold this opinion. Nobody's going to see you as a real scientist ever again after this. And there's many liars falling because there's many lions rising up. So I'm just going to put on another little compilation of 3 years ago, Neil Degrassi Tyson was talking with Joe Rogan, and it's just ridiculous how disrespectful he is to Joe Rogan. And yeah, anyways, let's just have a little watch of this. And this is part of the satanic network falling. These are the partial antichrist. Yes, there's going to be the antichrist that seems like he's Christ, that's going to act like he's Christ, and people are going to follow him. But there's all these other kinds of antichrists, like these intellectual atheists that have a lot of people following, and they have a lot of influence. So, people have been following these people, and now these people they're following are falling down. So this is the fall of the beast system. So, yes.
The global warming thing is very much connected to a certain type of ideology. A certain type of person who thinks of themselves.
It doesn't matter
as
to me.
No nonsense person.
What I'm saying, yes, it does matter. Distant future, you can just redirect a comet and get all the water you need. But
how far distant is that?
The comet's everywhere, dude. We're in a shooting gallery.
Yeah, that's not what I asked.
How
far away do you think it is before we could redirect?
How far away in time?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Or it all came from inside the Earth through volcanoes. Volcanoes emit lakes. Whatever is your concept, the discoveries of astrophysicists bring you closer to it.
Look at that face. So proud.
I get your perspective. Let me be the opposing view. They feel.
No, I'm not trying to.
No, I know you're not.
This is just information.
Okay.
This is information, and I walk out of the room. We want to climb the walls of St. Paul's Cathedral in downtown London. What would you say? No.
Yeah, but are those comparable? I mean, these are
Wait, hold on.
constructions.
We want to rappel down.
I think the real problem too is I think it's
If you
incredibly
value mountain climbing.
That's the thing about.
By the way,
water.
every
If you
glass.
drink
Do you see
water,
this?
People's pee is in it. How much of a?
By the way, all the
boon to
glaciers are
society-
fresh water.
But I would think that would be very valuable. I mean, think about how many people buy
It's not
bottles of
valuable
water.
enough yet. That's the point.
Well, is it that
It's pure.
or
It's
is
just
it
it's
that
just
it's
money, dude. It's just money. And
You
if
think
the
that's the
battery's
future?
all at the bottom of the car, and go like NASCAR, you run in, pop it up. I'm in a
No,
build.
those are real bricks.
No, it's not. No,
Yes, it is. Go touch it.
I don't believe you.
Go ahead. Those are real bricks. Go touch the bricks, man. Jesus Christ, he thinks we got fake bricks. Who do you think we are?
Okay.
Oh,
You got it.
thought I was a liar. How weird. That's a weird way of looking at
It's the
things,
art
man.
of browsing.
I understand.
Okay.
But
So
wouldn't
that is how I feel. That's how I should be.
Well, don't you think they're
I'm
just
screaming at
doing
you. I'm
it-
sorry
I know,
here.
you're getting a little excited.
Sorry.
Don't you think they're just? I think it was Camden, New Jersey, where they had such a crisis.
Wow, that was so random.
No, it's not
Yeah,
because
okay.
you're talking about surveillance.
Yeah.
Camden, New Jersey had such a crisis.
No, we don't know what it is. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it if you don't understand
Yeah,
it.
but it's too goddamn confusing for me. I
No,
don't like
it's not confusing
loose
at all.
ends.
It's not. It's something out there that has 85% of the gravity of the universe, and we don't know what the hell it is.
That's not confusing.
It's not confusing. It's
If you don't know what the hell
confusing.
it is, it's confusing by nature. And the more mass,
and
the
the
more
movement
gravity.
of matter on that fabric of space and time, we call gravity,
Yeah.
and I'm good with
He's
that.
good with that.
Okay, but you seem a little oddly defensive about something that's scientific.
No, I'm just saying I'm good with the.
But you are because you're kind of defending it.
No, you can say, well,
Defending,
why does matter?
Why do you need to know why?
Why
That's what you're
does
saying.
No, I'm saying why does matter and energy curve the fabric of space and time? You can ask that,
Okay, why?
and I don't have an answer for that. I can say,
Well, that's all I'm asking.
go full screen on that. My caption. Okay, for most of our life on Earth, we either resist or succumb to the force of gravity. At Muscle Beach, gravity loses every time.
I'm sorry, I just have to laugh at that. He's so proud of this statement that he just states here, and good one, man. That's a really good one. That one's gonna go down in the history books.
That's not true. It's nonsense. Gravity's gonna beat that motherfucker. Let me tell you.
Eventually, but while he's there, he's conquering gravity. Are you getting too old? You haven't conquered
No.
gravity lately.
No, I work out all the time. I'm not buying it.
That
It
gets-
seems like you're frustrated by all the various questions. But
No,
it seems
no,
like
no.
You seem a little defensive there. Am I right?
No, because I
You feel that?
thought you were taking your why to ultimately mean
No.
purpose.
Do you think we'll ultimately understand gravity?
I think we do. That's why we can land things on Mars.
Well, we understand.
I think we
the
do, which is
effects.
why your cell phone gets time from GPS satellites that is pre-corrected for Einstein's general theory of relativity because they're in a different gravitational field than you in orbit than you are on Earth's surface. We got this.
You're getting angry.
You're getting angry. Do you see this? So there you go. This is Neil Degrassi Tyson dying to the sword of reason. And thank you all for joining me here on this reaction video. I usually don't do these, but thank you so much for supporting me in the channel and pressing the like button. And please comment down below. I really like to hear other people's opinions on these matters. And yeah, take care. I love you all and God bless. Hey, Ruby? Yeah? Good girl? Yes.